Play ball! Blue 22!
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
All right, we are back. It is a Monday morning, Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. We have all sorts of days to celebrate, or not really celebrate, because one of them, not so good. Yeah. The other people are
as a result
just...
of that, the other ones were forced off their land. So
Yes, exactly.
there's that.
So we have that. We're celebrating
But
that.
hey, the kids still get today off, right?
Yeah. So that, and banks usually get the day off too.
Well, not me.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, buddy.
Oh well, that's all right. I don't want the day off. I think it's grotesque.
I agree with you. Protest by going to work.
Right, exactly.
All right, so we have a little bit to talk about today. Not a ton. Obviously, the Yankees have been eliminated from the playoffs in terrible fashion. They just did not show up.
Predictable fashion. Well, for me, predictable.
They did not show up.
I know you had more faith, but
Yeah. I mean, there are many things that I had questions about. Aaron Boone is becoming a worse and worse manager as time goes on. I don't know if it's just the situation that he's in, but he has become, to me, the bottom, he's in the bottom 3 of managers in the league. He's terrible. He just does not. I think he's lost all feeling for the game, doing the whole thing by numbers and whatever, like that Cashman and the Yankee brass are kind of making him do. I think he's just lost touch of how to actually manage a game.
yeah.
It's unfortunate. But I guess we'll see how that all shakes out by the end of the year, by the end of the calendar year. Hopefully something happens in a positive way. And there's a new Yankee manager, maybe even clear some of those bench coaches, the coaches out as well. Because I can't say I've been overly thrilled with a lot of their... I mean, the whole team slumped this year pretty much. Stanton came on at the very end of the season, but if he didn't have that hot streak at the end of the year, he would have had a down year too. So it would have been like Aaron Judge and that's it. And even him, that's a good year for him, not a great year. That's like a year that he should be having. It's not like he had 140 RBIs or, scored like 130 runs.
He peaked in his rookie year.
Well,
Sorry,
I mean, he had a good year. I mean, what did he hit?
No, but literally, he peaked in his rookie year. He probably will never have a year like that again. 50 home runs and 140 RBIs.
He could if some of the Yankees were getting on base. He could have had another 130 RBI year.
He was solid. Listen, him and Stanton aren't the problems.
Right. I mean, Stanton was a problem. He's been a problem.
Do you want I'll give you.
I would trade Stanton in a heartbeat.
Well, I guess I would trade him too. I'd be slightly less inclined to now after seeing
get rid of him while you can. You don't want to have to deal with those droughts of 2.5 months of him striking out all the time.
Well,
just get rid of him while he's hot.
Well, I also think though that part of his success was very heavily tied to playing in the field. And
He's
I
not
also
going to
think
play in the
that
field. He's still a terrible outfielder.
I think that's. I wouldn't say he's terrible.
He's terrible. He's below average.
I would say he's average.
No, he's got a bad arm. He can't cover a ton of ground.
Well, that's why they put him in left, where he can do the least amount of damage.
But still, you're giving up runs. We's not a good outfielder. He's a below average outfielder.
I disagree with that. I don't know that the numbers bear that out either. I mean, we don't have we weren't really prepped for this conversation. I'll give you my quick fix for this Yankee team, though, if you'd like to hear it. I can do it in less than 2 minutes. For starters, get rid of Boone. I want Buck back. I know that's not going to happen, but get rid of Boone for starters. As far as changes in personnel go, I think for the most part, the bullpen is okay. The starters are okay. Here's a few moves I would make. I expect 0.0 of these to happen because they're the Yankees and they hate us. They hate the fans right now. And right now, I think Hal Steinbrenner is focused on one thing and one thing only, which is making money. I think he wants the team to be good to the point where they can make the playoffs, but I don't know that he really cares beyond that. He's not obsessed with winning the way his father was, and that is not opinion. That's just a fact. Just look at the product on the field. Look at the way they go about their business, trying to get under luxury tax thresholds and things like, do the Dodgers look like they give a shit about the luxury tax threshold? No. And where are the Dodgers right now? They're in the postseason.
Fixed it.
Okay, good. So anyways, here's what I would do. I think your rotation is fine. I would, and after looking at the numbers, I feel even more strongly about this. I would bring back on a 2-year deal, because he's still actually only 32 years old. I would bring back Masahiro Tanaka to help lengthen out the starting rotation. In Rakuten this year, I think where he played in Japan, I think the Yankees are the only team he would come back to, which is why I don't think he played last year, because they didn't have it in their budget to keep him, and I think that's why he's gone. Okay. I think he would come back to New York. I think that's the only place he'd come back to. But let me tell you this. Now, he had a shortened season. I don't know if he was hurt. His win-loss record was not good. He was 4-7, but he pitched to a 2.91 ERA and gave up a little over 100 hits in 136 innings. I mean, he was himself. And again, I know Japan, right? The bar is a little lower. Okay, so you translate that to the majors and maybe you add another run to his ERA, which would be like 3.9. But also, wouldn't you be able to live with that? I could. I could live with that. So I'd bring him back, and that lengthens that rotation out a little bit, and it provides some depth. Bringing him back, I would keep Sevy in the bullpen. Again, these are things that are not going to happen, but I would keep Sevy in the bullpen. I think he's a weapon out of there. Plus, I like that he could just empty the tank in 2 innings and really plow through really 2 important innings of the game, which could be either the 5th or 6th or the 6th and 7th. Mm-hmm. As far as on-field changes, 4 words: Seager, no matter what. Go get Corey Seager. You have to. He is the absolute perfect piece to this lineup. Left-handed, hits for power, hits for average, decent fielder, plays shortstop, which, believe it or not, is a position of need. You have to keep Glaber at second.
He gets hurt every year.
I would keep who?
Seager.
Who doesn't get hurt in baseball these days?
But I mean, like, significant time. Like, he's out, like, it seems like 50 games every year.
I don't think this year.
Yes, he was.
I don't know.
He was out quite a bit.
Well, again, you can play the injury game all you want, but the problem is, look how many. I mean, the Yankees have made a history of signing guys who get hurt. Anyways, for me, it's Seager no matter what. I mean, you don't make that move, you might as well just throw in the towel next year, because that's the guy that answers a lot of your problems. It makes the lineup more balanced. It brings average into the lineup. It brings additional power into the lineup, playing to the short porch. It just makes too much sense, which is why the Yankees won't do it. But again, this is my pie in the sky.
So he played in 95 games this year.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate.
52 the year before, 134 the year before that, 26 the year before that, and then 145, 157, and that was in 2016, 2017.
Okay, so he's had sort of half and half. 3 years.
He's had 3 years where he had 2 years in 2016, 2017, which is far removed. That's 157, 145. And then
that far removed.
I mean, he was 22 and 23. I mean, he's going 28 now.
Yeah.
So
still wouldn't hesitate.
He's a good player, but I would be nervous. I'd be nervous about him.
Okay, well, I mean, listen, you could say that about almost anybody on this team. Go up and down the Yankee lineup. Are you nervous about Stanton every year injuries? Yes. Are you about Judge? Yes. I mean,
because they have a track record.
Right. But, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to get rid of everybody? You're going to not sign people? Because what are you going to do? You're going to look around and only find guys that aren't injured all the time? Good luck with that in Major League Baseball.
There are plenty of players that play on a regular basis.
Not with that talent.
But
not with
52 games and 94 games, 95 games? That's missing half a season.
But you're cherry picking years where he was hurt. I could go and cherry pick the years where he wasn't hurt.
How about the last 4 years? The last 4 years, he's played less than 134 games. 26, 134, 52, 95.
Again, I'll make the same argument. You could look up and down this Yankee lineup and find plenty of guys who didn't even come close to playing full years. I mean, I think you got to bank on him being healthy.
I mean, you would say Aaron Judge is injury prone, right?
Yes.
Okay. 155, 112, 102, 28, 148. One season where he didn't play under 100 games. One season only.
But he gets nicked up a lot, and he misses time he misses significant time. Stanton was good this year. Why? Because he played the field and he was more limber and he was stretched out. It's not a coincidence that Giancarlo Stanton was not significantly hurt this year, especially in the second half. It's just not. Anyways, let me finish up. So Seager, I would go and get keep Gio at third, put Glaber at second, put DJ at first. Get rid of Voit, shoot him to the sun. Get rid of Gary Sanchez faster than you can say Gary Sanchez. Please get him off of this team and go get I like Mike Zunino, although last night did not really help my cause for that. And I would, if you don't like him, go get Tyler Barnhart from Cincinnati because they're going to have an opening there because I think Stevenson, their heralded draft pick, is going to be taken over. And listen, I mean, if you look at a guy like Barnhart, he's not going to give you a ton offensively, but he plays great defense. And you have him and Higgy calling good games, playing good defense. I would so much rather have that than dealing with Gary Sanchez's Jekyll and Hyde bipolar bullshit. I'm so done with him. That guy has 2 or 3 good weeks a year, and his supporters just sit on it and they say, look what he can do. Well, we know what he can do, but that's the exception.
He's not a catcher.
He's not even a DH.
He could be.
He can't even hit his weight. He can't hit his weight.
He could be. That's because he focuses too much on catching, and that's what he gets.
For a guy who focuses on catching, he should be a lot better at it.
No, he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have that kind of skill set. He's got a good arm. That's it.
I wouldn't want him clogging up the DH role either because the Yankees have way too many players on the team as it is that require that slot.
I would much rather have Gary Sanchez as a DH than Stanton.
Okay.
Because that's where you're going to put him.
We'll agree to disagree on that. One guy is a former NL MVP and the other guy just sucks. So,
one guy you'll get cheap and then you can fill your rotation with more money.
You're going to get, okay, if you get him, you get what you pay for, man. Dude, that guy is terrible. He first of all, he has some at-bats that are so non-competitive that it's
because he's a catcher.
Yeah, but
get him out from out catching so he can reserve his legs, reserve his body, and then he could probably hit because he can hit.
I'll disagree with that. Because I think that if you look at him, I would look at him in a very similar way that I would look at Stanton. Because Gary Sanchez is a guy, you could tell the mental aspect of baseball is a problem for him. And if you allow him to sit on the bench and he gets himself into a slump, he will never work his way out of his own head. Because when you are sitting on that bench and your only responsibility, unless you're David Ortiz.
See, I think it's the opposite way. I think it's the opposite way. I think Gary Sanchez, his catching problems mess him up more than anything else because he messes up behind the plate so often it affects him offensively.
I think, but I also think that guys who DH, again, unless you're like a unicorn like David Ortiz, I think that guys who sit on that bench constantly, all they do is have time to get in their heads. Their heads aren't in the game. See, that's the thing I like about playing the field. It keeps you sharp on both sides, and it's a distraction. At least if you're good defensively, you can make up for the fact that you might be having an off day.
But he's not.
Gary Sanchez can't do any of those. He can't do either thing.
Right. Well, I think if he could just sit there and focus on hitting, he would be better.
The only thing I will tell you about Sanchez is that he is the benefactor in baseball of not very good catching in general around the league. If you look around Major League Baseball, good catching is at an absolute premium. There's not a lot of it.
Right.
I mean, there's one elite catcher, that's Sal Perez. Outside of him, it's a big drop after him. I mean, and again, he's in his own category. So like you can't even bring him into the conversation. If you look at catching around the league, it's just not that great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of Yankee fans would say, well, what would be better? And I would say I'd rather have what most teams have. They don't have all-star catchers. They have kind of light-hitting, good defensive catchers who can take care of the ball behind the plate and call a solid game. That's all I want. I don't need Piazza. I don't need Sal Perez. Actually, Piazza wasn't a good defensive catcher either, but he could.
I mean, Buster Posey's still good.
Buster Posey is still good. He's showing you in the postseason that he still has, sterling stuff. So,
and he can hit.
Yes, I would. So for me, that's kind of another move I would make. If you want to go real scorched earth here, if you want to just say pie in the sky, and you want to say, hey, Hal's just going to say, fuck it. I reset the luxury tax threshold again. I'm just going to blow the doors off this bitch. Then in addition to the moves I just told you, go out and get yourself Freddie Freeman too. And then what that allows you to do,
you have to free up some money. That's why I say, if you want to do that kind of stuff, you got to get rid of Stanton. You got to get rid of these guys.
I'm saying if you want to go Dodger, yeah, but look at the Dodgers. They have a $275 million payroll.
They don't care though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If you want to go scorched earth, which they do not,
right?
This was a pie in the sky. Get Freeman, and then that allows you with DJ to do with him what you originally intended to do when you signed him, which was to sort of have him play every day, but roving around and giving guys a blow once a week. Because he can play every position in that infield.
I tell you, I loved Rizzo on the team. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think Rizzo was when he signed him. It was like a deep breath that felt really good. I was like, oh my gosh, we have a first baseman who can catch the ball, who can throw the ball, who's just so solid over there. We do not have to worry about throws anymore.
Yeah. Now, if yes, I agree. And if you didn't want to do Freeman, if you want to just keep Rizzo, but still get Seager and still do what I said with DJ, where he can move all over the infield and play. Again, DJ can play any position in that infield, except for catcher. He can play any position in that infield. Any one of them. Actually, he probably could catch better than Sanchez, just saying. But he can play every position. If you needed him at third, he can play it. Short, second, first. Every position. The guy is an absolute... and you know what was funny about DJ? He had a bad year this year, and he still hit like 270 in a down year. And what for him was a down year. I mean, he's capable of hitting 30 to 50 points higher than that. You know it, and I know it. He's way valuable part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know even just in one game, not having him in that lineup really hurt that lineup in Boston. I'm not saying they would have won with him, but I'm just saying it hurts the lineup when he's not in it. Because it lengthens the lineup. He's a guy at
solidifies defense. He solidifies defense. He gets more. He gets you on base.
He very rarely gives you a non-competitive at bat. Right. Very rarely. So that would be my sort of short-term fix. Honestly, I expect maybe one of those things to happen, and if I had to put money on it, I would probably say keeping Rizzo would be the most likely thing. I don't think they'll get into a bidding war over Seager, which was going to happen. Rizzo, I can imagine wanting to stay just because I think he's from Jersey and I think he grew up a Yankee fan.
Mm-hmm.
And when he left Chicago, I was telling this to my brother the other day. It was very strange because you could look at a guy like him and say, boy, he could just go right back to Chicago if he wants after this, Mm-hmm. But the way he left Chicago was very dramatic. And it seemed like a final goodbye. And it seemed like he knew it was the last goodbye. It was very strange the way that sort of happened. And so I just felt like, okay, I think he's closed this chapter in his book, the Chicago chapter. I think, theoretically, he and Chris Bryant could both go back to Chicago. I don't think either one of those things is going to happen. I think there's a good chance Bryant stays in San Francisco. And I think there's a good chance that Rizzo, if he doesn't stay in New York, could very well go to Boston. So I think Rizzo's going to stay here in the Northeast somewhere. But that's what I would do. If I'm the Yankees, that's how I would handle it. You want to just blow this shit up, just blow it up. Go nuts. Go Dodgers. I mean, do you really care? Like, I will tell you one thing as a Yankee fan. it was a mild irritation at best, which was, especially Boston fans, which is so ironic right now. Boston fans saying, oh, the Yankees buy this and the Yankees buy that. And it was like, okay, well, that worked for you for a while until you started doing the same shit. And then the Dodgers just blew everyone away. But what's funny is the Dodgers somehow seem to get away with it still. The Yankees still seem to be the poster child for buying championships, even though the Yankees haven't won shit in a dozen years. And the Dodgers are perennially in the World Series. So who's buying what? I think you need to reshift your focus here, baseball have-nots, to not New York, but LA. All right, I think I'm good.
Cool. No doubt. And if you look at, I don't know what the average is, but as far as like defensively on Fangraphs,
yeah,
I don't know. Stanton seems to be a -12. So, and I think the average is closer to even.
I don't know. See, like for the eye test for me, he passed the eye test as a left fielder.
Well, because he catches the balls that are to him, but he's just not fast. He's not like, he's awkward. Yeah. He's just so built.
No, don't get me wrong. There were even some catches that he made that seemed routine, and he made them look a little more difficult. Yeah. But I mean, as long as the result is the ball getting in the glove, I kind of couldn't care less about
lack of arm strength. I don't know. There's just a lot that I just don't particularly love about him in the outfield. But like again, he wasn't the problem this year. It was just more
he was not the problem.
It's more I just like freeing up the payroll to be able to get some other spots.
But I'm trying to be realistic about it and say who's taking on the salary.
Well, I mean, if he's gonna put up 35, 110 every year, you probably take on part of the salary.
Here's what I would say: assuming the DH is going to be in play across the league in 2022, which I think it is looking that way, then obviously that opens an entire other league to him.
Not if everybody's seeing what you're seeing.
But exactly, that was going to be my point. That's the.
But you can put him in and out. That's the good thing is that you can take him in and out.
You can. But the point is, it still opens up the other half of the league.
I think he would be great in LA.
He would absolutely be a monster.
He would love it in LA.
He would love it. I think he's from there, right? He's a West Coast guy. I'm pretty sure he's from LA.
I think so.
Yeah, no, he would love it. He would love it. It fits right in with the Dodgers' MO of just basically swallowing up big contracts like fucking Unicron swallowing up planets. I mean, it's there's your 80s Transformers reference for the day.
All right, let's get on to that was a long but unexpected.
Hey, we needed to wrap up the Yankee season, so we did it.
I put the state of the Yankees thing in there. I wasn't expecting to do that today, but sometimes you just got to talk Yankees.
I to me, honestly,
got to get cathartic, right?
Yes, there you go. That's my word. The most fascinating thing to me will be who if they fire Boone. Although I actually am starting to doubt that that's going to happen. If they fire him, I just wonder who they replace him with.
Some other guy that they can.
It's a big question.
Puppeteer.
See that—that's why it won't be Buck, because they can't puppet Buck.
Yeah.
There are no strings on Buck, so they can't. He would not allow that. There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
No. All right, so let's get into let's go right into our week. You want to briefly talk week 5? There's not a lot to talk about. So last week we had I went 4-0, which is a great week for me. Brian went 3-1. And let's see what we got here. That was. Here we are. So it was Raiders, Chargers, Rams, Seahawks, Bills, Chiefs, Browns, Chargers. The Raiders, Chargers, we both had the Chargers. We both picked them pretty much handily. They won handily. They doubled up.
It was Browns, Chargers.
We did Raiders, Chargers. That was the Monday Night Football game.
Oh, the Monday Night Football game.
So they played twice this week.
Yes.
So they doubled up the Raiders. So that was pretty easy for us. And then we had the Rams Seahawks. And the Rams Seahawks is a big game because obviously Russell Wilson is going to be hurt for a while. He's going to be out, I think, 4 games.
Yeah.
He ligament in his finger. That looked gnarly. And he tried to come back in. And that dude is tough. So I Quick question. Let's not get too far into this, but what do you think about Russell Wilson? Do you think he's going to be around in Seattle going next year?
It's hard to see.
I say there is no way he stays.
He
He gets
honestly,
the crap kicked out of him every year, and they keep saying, "Oh, we're going to help you out. We're going to help you out," and he just keeps getting
here's
beat
what
up.
I'll tell you. In my opinion, if you want to go, I don't think this is really a bold or a hot take, but if you want to really go out there, I think next year Russ, Rodgers, and Watson are all on new team. Well, Watson definitely. I think Rodgers, Watson, and Russell are all on new teams this year, and I don't want to say guarantee, but I can almost guarantee one of them is going to be a Miami Dolphin.
Oh, so
because
you think the Finns are already saying bye to Tua?
I think they are. I haven't said goodbye to him. I love him. He's my guy, but he's going to have success elsewhere. It's not going to be here. After what I witnessed this weekend, and really after what I've seen this entire season, they are going to blow this thing up. I think Greer is going to be gone. Brian Flores is going to be gone. But you know what? Let's not talk about the Dolphins because that's a tired old story, and there's really nothing to talk about there. The thing that I think we need to talk about, and I will, of course, turn the floor over to you very quickly, but I just want to say, after what I saw last night in Kansas City, this is strange to me. It felt like a passing of the torch from the Chiefs to the Bills, which is odd because Patrick Mahomes has barely even entered his prime, and yet it feels like the Chiefs are now yesterday's news.
It's because of their defense. Like, their offense is so good, and they can move. They proved that they can move the ball against the Bills, but the problem, Bills' defense is just
Josh Allen.
They were all over the place.
Is just a weapon unto himself. He is his own weapon. He's a Swiss Army knife.
He's also his own worst enemy.
No, he is, and he made a couple of mistakes last night, and they were very quick to call them on him. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, if only my quarterback had the problems that Josh Allen has. But
I tell you, when he scrambles and just launches that ball downfield, and then he throws it to my man Dawson Knox. Oh, I love it.
Well, what's strange and what's so odd is his third best receiver is Emmanuel Sanders, and Emmanuel Sanders blew up last night and had a monster game.
Well, that's what happens when you have good receivers.
When you have a guy like Diggs,
and he has a tight end that has good hands.
He is
multiple weapons.
Developing a rapport with. Yeah. Dawson Knox is now becoming a fantasy threat.
I love Dawson
If he's not rostered already, he needs to be.
That was my go-to guy to throw to when I was playing Madden last year. Oh, I love Dawson Knox.
Also, same thing with Emmanuel Sanders from a fantasy perspective. If he's not rostered, you need to roster him because he's the kind of guy. He's the kind of veteran presence. That, don't get me wrong, Diggs is a veteran too. Yeah. But Sanders just comes with that wealth
and they're
of
always putting the number one cornerback on him and sometimes
right.
doubling him up and
that's why they went and got Sanders, because even though he's a little longer in the tooth, he is still a very effective receiver, especially when you have a great quarterback. So, and Emmanuel Sanders has been the benefactor of having good quarterbacks too. So
between Davis, Sanders, Diggs, and Knox,
a lot of weapons.
And then both backs can catch the ball out of the backfield. And
what I was going to say was it sort of masks their on paper very average running game, but it makes their running game more effective because they're such a threat to throw the ball.
3 running backs.
And Josh Allen is the third running back. Yeah. Actually, I would say he's RB1 and Moss and Singletary are RBs 2 and 3. Yeah. But man, I'll tell you, like I said, it was weird. It felt like a passing of the torch game, but that's ironic considering, again, Mahomes is barely, if he has.
That's the thing is it's not a passing of the torch because all they have to do is retool. If they can retool on defense, then they're going to be fine.
Their defense was a little banged up last night too, the Chiefs.
But they were missing that's where they have always lacked.
That's their deficiency, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Their offensive line was good, but they couldn't keep up with the Bills, who run those 8 guys at you, who just they keep rotating them in and out and wearing out the offensive line.
That was it. I'll tell you what, man, if you're a Bills fan, this is it. This is your I know this is going to sound like hyperbole at this stage in the season, but you know what? This will be as good a chance as maybe you've ever had, and I'm including those teams that were, chock full of Hall of Famers like Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith and Darryl Talley and Andre Reed and James Lofton. This team is good.
Yeah. The only thing that would make them be in that same conversation, and they're close. They're very close to that same conversation because you could very easily make an argument that Josh Allen as early as in his career, he's better than Jim Kelly. You could make the argument.
Physically, he's significantly
yes,
better.
but like Jim Kelly was a master of that.
But Jim
2-minute
Kelly
offense,
had it up here,
like
Jim
the
Kelly
quick
had it
offense.
here.
Yeah, he just had that quick.
And also, as an aside, Jim Kelly, even though he tormented me, a sweetheart of a man.
Yeah.
I've had the chance to meet him and even talk to him a little bit.
Yeah.
Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Like really
That's what
nice
everybody
guy.
says. Yeah. And but the thing is that one thing that they don't have that's the same because they had Lofton and Reed. They just had such a team. But Thurman Thomas is the guy.
Yeah,
like
he's the straw that stirred the drink.
He was amazing. And that's what
if they could
get, but if they might not need that kind of guy there because they just have a guy right now who can, he's going to run for, 700 yards as a quarterback.
I told you,
maybe more.
I still have nightmares about Thurman Thomas and screen passes. Yeah. Like that still haunts me in my dreams.
He had such good hands. He
was an amazing player.
Him and Marshall Faulk, the best hands as a running back. Like they just
two running backs who in this age, oh my God, can you imagine how much money they would have made? Holy crap.
Yeah. Because as good as Thurman Thomas was, you could really make an argument that Marshall Faulk was the 2.0 version. Because that's how good he was.
Yeah,
good he was.
I mean, Marshall Faulk he was a fantasy stud.
Oh my God.
For sure.
And LaDainian Tomlinson was also that way, catching the ball out of the
Tomlinson, I believe, is, if you want to call it like the best pure running back, maybe.
Because he could do it all.
It's hard to argue against Barry Sanders, but Barry Sanders was such an East and West runner.
He was a pure running back.
Because Barry Sanders was often running for his life as opposed to just running.
And he also had cement hands. He had a hard time catching the ball.
That wasn't his game. But like Tomlinson and Thurman and Marshall, yes, those guys were all like running backs who in this NFL would have thrived and made big coin. I mean, Aaron Jones is sort of that guy. Eckler he's on that. He's there.
Not the same.
I think there's still. I mean, listen. You're still waiting for. I mean, Derrick Henry is obviously not that guy. He's the one trick pony, but he's a one trick pony that's just a mean motherfucker.
Oh yeah, he
just trucks dudes.
Yeah, he's just so big.
I mean, I love watching him.
He's so strong.
Run. It's just like watching a boulder roll downhill. Nothing's gonna stop it.
Yeah.
It's great. I love watching him truck dudes, man.
It is fun for those that aren't playing him.
Yeah, it is.
I think we play the Titans next Monday.
I don't think that'll be a problem for them. Honestly,
but still,
I haven't looked at the Bills. Listen, the Bills will get tripped up maybe one or two more times this year at most. They'll lose 3 games tops.
Yeah,
tops. There's just after what I saw yesterday. Come on. It's
a good team. I like it. Enjoying the team.
If you're a Bills fan, man, your only hope.
Clint!
Oh God, please just let Josh Allen stay healthy.
Yeah, that is the thing because you can see it like when you're running the ball a lot. Those defensive players they let you have it.
They would be very pedestrian without him. So keep that man upright. Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty much it for our week 5 recap. I mean, we don't have to go into too much. I mean, the Chargers-Browns game was amazing. High scoring event.
That was so much fun to watch. I was watching that. It was so much fun.
We both had it very close, but we both had it not scoring as much points. So
who had 100?
Yeah,
like 92.
47 to 42.
Is that what it was? 47-42. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, that's a high scoring affair.
89 points. That's something.
So that was a fun game. The Green Bay game versus the Bengals was a good game as well. Missed field goals galore, but
eventually Mason Crosby decided, hey, I'll hit this one.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. That game. You know what? I feel bad for the Bengals. They should have won that game.
Yeah.
Bengals should be 4-1.
Oh well. Give Aaron Rodgers another dub, another notch on that belt. All right, so let's get into week 6 of the NFL, and let me do a little this right here.
I will tell you this. It's
probably, hold on, I have to do the NFL segment. Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus, man.
To continue a thought from earlier. Now I feel like a scolded child.
Go to your room.
I don't want to go
Take
up
my belt off
the stairs. No.
Take my belt off.
All right, Dad, chill. Dial it down a notch, Pops.
Not wearing a belt. Damn it. Lucked out. So, what was your thought?
Actually, I don't know that this would be popular among Dolphin fans, especially considering his age. But of those three quarterbacks, the one I'd actually want the most is Rodgers, because maybe you just get the Tom Brady effect with him. He comes in, and the problem is the Dolphins have way more holes than the Bucs had, though. The Bucs just needed the quarterback; they had everything else in place. The Dolphins had holes everywhere.
They had some really good players on defense, plus they had offense. Right now, their offense. Antonio
really
Brown is their
changed.
number 3 receiver.
Yeah, with the exception, I mean, and because of Brady's presence, they got Gronk to come out of retirement, who clearly was not done. They got Antonio Brown to go there, and Leonard Fournette ended up, getting traded there. So
I mean, Gronk got messed up.
Oh, he did. He did.
Like 5 broken ribs.
Oh, I know. Prior to that hit, though, he was he looked like Gronk.
Yeah. I mean, he's good.
Boy, I got to tell you. Oh man, that just has to. Doesn't that tell you like how bad things had to have been in New England?
Yeah.
That Gronk walked away, seemed very at peace with it. I actually thought he would never come back to football. And the second Brady went down to Tampa, Gronk was already thinking.
Well, they had that phone call, that broken up phone call, that commercial.
Yeah. Yes, that is funny actually. Yeah. I'll tell you, man.
Ma, can you get my football pants?
And listen, it will never change. Nothing will ever change the kind of person Bill Belichick is. In fact, the older he gets, the more curmudgeon he seems to get. Yeah. So the less he opens up, his press conferences are still, I don't know. Some people think they're hilarious. I just think he's a clown. But all right. But the bottom line is, man, that just tells you what things are like in New England.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into some action here. Why is this? It's doing it again. There we go. This stupid thing. All right, so we have Monday Night Football tonight. Colts versus Ravens. The 1-3 Colts. The 3-1 Ravens. 46 points. Over under. I have obviously the Ravens winning this game. There is no way that Wentz and so I do believe you're going to see the Colts come close to a 500 record by the end of the year. I think that, as T.Y. Hilton gets healthy and they just start getting a little bit more chemistry, I do believe in Reich as a coach. I think that he's great. I think that you're going to see them turn it around and they will end up maybe even fighting for a playoff spot, because I just feel like as they get a little more healthy, they'll be good. But as of right now, I have the Ravens. They're just a better team. Their defense is going to kind of manhandle the Colts offense right now, being as unhealthy as they are. And I just can't see them stopping Jackson. So I have 30-20 Ravens.
I have 34-20 Ravens.
All right.
There's just, the Colts are not. I mean, yes, they looked good against a bad Dolphin team last week, but that's meaningless.
And that was Carson Wentz's best game this year,
right.
And he still only threw for 228 with 2 touchdowns.
And he's still hobbling around.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This is not the matchup.
He's going to get beat up. That's on that team. He's going to get a little beat up for.
And he will.
Short term.
The Ravens will probably try to bully him a little bit tonight. So.
All right, now we'll go to Thursday Night Football, which is the 4-1 Bucks versus the 2-3 Eagles. 53 over under. I can't see the Bucks slowing down here.
The Bucks don't stop here.
Yeah, they
keep going.
This is going to be another high scoring game for them. As good as the Eagles defense can be from time to time, I just feel like this is going to be one of those things where, the Bucks kind of keep it close, and then as the game goes on, it just starts pulling further and further away. The Eagles start making, Hurts starts making bad decisions, throwing picks, all that kind of stuff. And then the snowball just grows. And I think it's going to be 35-18 Bucks.
Well, we're close. 38-17.
Wow. All right. Then to Sunday Night Football, the 2-3 Seahawks versus the 2-3 Steelers. This is actually a close game, but I don't think on the record-wise. But without Russell Wilson, and even though Ben Roethlisberger is looking like a shell of himself, he does have a lot of weapons. And this will be his last year. And
one of those three guys I mentioned earlier, probably going to end up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
If actually you want to know the likelihood, that's probably where Rodgers goes.
You think so?
Because, well, him and Tomlin were practically flirting with each other, like last week, like winking at each other. Oh my God, it was like get a room. It was bordering on get a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's gonna go. He'll go to Pittsburgh.
Or his
I mean, if you were him, would you go to Miami? I wouldn't go to Miami.
It's nice out there, though.
Well, apparently, Watson's the only one who wants to go to Miami, and that's just because the masseuse game down there is solid.
Masseuse on every corner.
Everywhere, right? I mean, South Beach, dude, there's a reason why Deshaun.
They have a masseuse in every locker room. Every locker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that this is going to be. I think this is going to be a relatively close game. But that's just because I don't think either team's great. I do like the Steelers' offense besides Ben Roethlisberger. So I do think they'll move the ball down the field.
They sort of win despite him.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen again. I think that the Steelers take the victory here, and I got to put them 24-21. I just don't see. I'm assuming Geno Smith is going to be the quarterback again. I just can't see him doing anything good enough to win this game. So I feel like one of those touchdowns is going to come defensively. And I think it's going to be 24-21. Steelers.
24-16.
All right.
Steelers.
Wow, we're like all on par here. And then the last game of the week, which is also the you son of a this thing is making me so mad. Yeah, buddy. So we have the game of the week, Chargers versus Ravens. Again, a team that's playing twice in a week. And because of that, I have them not winning. Because I feel like the Chargers are such a good offensive team that they are so solid all over the place. They are solid from quarterback down to receiver, down to their running back. Their defense is good enough to put pressure on the quarterback, on the opposing quarterback. So I just feel like this is going to come down to who can kind of score more points. And I don't particularly love the running back situation in Baltimore. So because of that, they're going to be kind of a one-trick pony. And as long as they can not let, or if they can do what I can't remember. Who did the Ravens play last week? We just said it, didn't we?
Playing the Colts this week.
Who did they play? Who did they play last week? They're playing tonight, right? They're playing tonight. But the last game that they played, I can't remember who they played, but he threw the ball a ton. He was throwing
he has to.
So, and I think as long as they can make him do that, they won't be able to put up enough points. If they get him scrambling all over the place and he starts moving the ball down the field that way, I feel like that's how the Ravens might win this game. They need to keep Jackson in the pocket, because even though he was throwing the ball and he was having success, none of his throws were on target. Even the balls that they caught, they were all diving, even though they were wide open. They had to dive for balls. They were reaching behind them to catch it. His accuracy is just not there. So if you're going to win, you have to make him make a mistake. And I think that's the way that's going to be. So I have 30-27, the Chargers and Herbert.
That's funny. I have 31-27 Chargers.
Yep.
We're way too close this week, so there'll be no ground gained this week either way.
For you, no. All right.
I don't know. These all seemed like relatively obvious picks to me, but
yeah, I mean, the
NFL's weird though.
I don't know. I feel like that Chargers Ravens game is so close. That could very easily go the other way.
I don't know. The Chargers are on the upswing, man.
They are, but they give up a lot of points sometimes.
They give up a lot of points, but they're almost impossible to keep out of the end zone.
Yeah, they do. They have a lot of weapons. A lot of weapons. All right, so let's move on. You know what? You know what we get to talk about? We get to do what we haven't done in a long time.
What, the stupid Mount Rushmore
The stupid Mount Rushmore.
that we have been like sitting on for? Yeah, I know. It's time. Let's do it. Finally. Christ.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore of best TV shows to go 5 seasons or less. All right.
Kind of fun.
We have about 13 minutes left.
Sure.
So let's get into this. We have, what do you have here? You want to go first? You want me to go first? What do you want to go first? We should have a coin toss.
Yeah. I don't care. You tell me.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay.
So we'll start with Abraham Lincoln. And this was very tough for me. And I ended up going with a mini series here because there are whispers that there might be a second season. But I would be shocked just because of how well this one was received. It was such an amazing show. And I had like points of where I was annoyed. There's laughter. There was like, kind of, you were rooting for this lead in this miniseries so much. And I was rooting for her in a way like I would root for a sports team. Just the way that she kind of got beat down by this opponent for a long period of time and then finally took the dub. For those that didn't see it, I'm sorry for spoiling it, but it's been out for a while. And that is The Queen's Gambit. That show was so incredible. I was confused by the first episode and then slowly got sucked in and then watched this person kind of like go through an extremely low period in her life after being kind of like this prodigy and then going through this low period and then, fighting and working through her problems and just becoming the amazing chess player that she is or was just so much fun to watch, and it brought chess back, and people were buying chess boards like crazy. They were like #1 sellers on Amazon again, and it just took the world by storm. I thought it was such an amazing show, and that right there is going to be my Abraham Lincoln. Yes, second. I absolutely loved that miniseries.
Well, get ready for the Fox barrage. Here it comes. Because there's going to be it not only in my top 4, but in my honorable mentions. There's a lot of Fox shows. That should surprise nobody because Fox is just notorious for canceling shit way too early. Just not. I don't know what it is. I mean, listen. I'm assuming they base all of this on numbers, and that maybe the numbers aren't there. But certain shows
in their demographic,
I guess, I don't know.
They're 60-year-old conservative.
Yeah. So my Abraham Lincoln for Fox is it's a show called L.A. to Vegas.
Oh my God, that was fun.
It was a flight show.
Yes.
And it's literally what it was. It was just this flight that would go from LA to Vegas, LA to Vegas.
That was a good show.
It was a short,
funny. That was a good
short flight.
Yeah.
But Dylan McDermott was the captain. He was great. One of the reasons,
it's a good pick. It's funny.
Not surprisly, that I loved the show was the stewardess Kim Matula, who checks a lot of boxes for me. I just could not take my eyes off of her. But the show was really funny and really witty, and I loved the setting. The setting was primarily either in the airplane or in the airport. I mean, it was. Those were kind of like
took trips to apartments from time to time.
Yes, right. There were yes,
they went to that what was it, that RV park?
Yes, the RV. That's right. Yeah. But it was a pretty cool cast. Like Peter Stormare was great. He played this guy Artem.
Yeah.
He was funny.
So good.
Nathan Lee Graham was in it. He was really funny. It had a fun cat. Dermot Mulroney. I love Dermot Mulroney. it always weirds me out when Dermot Mulroney and Dylan McDermott are in the same show because it's like, wait, which one is which? Both good-looking guys. Which one is which here? Yeah. But I loved that show, and I was so pissed when it was gone, and it was just like, fuck you, Fox.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's my Lincoln.
All right, I like that. It's a good one. I remember that. That's a really good. Did that last more than one season?
One season.
Yeah. That was just one. That was too bad. That was a good show.
Yep. Classic Fox, man.
Yeah, I was very sad when that one left. I was like, oh, that was so funny. That was a good show. It's unfortunate. We used to talk about that show too. That's too bad.
Yes.
All right. So my number 3, aka Teddy.
Yeah.
Teddy Rose.
Yeah.
Is a show that I absolutely love. It has a character in it that we have mentioned in multiple recast of movies. And this cast was so well done, and everybody used to make fun of it because it was kind of like it was like a harder core, like Friends reboot almost. And it was such a funny show. They did such a good job. They even made fun of themselves as kind of a Friends reboot. And you had your Monica, you had your Chandler, you had your Monica and Chandler, you had your Joey, you had your Ross and Rachel, you had the whole and just your Phoebe, you had everybody there. They had all the characters, but I do feel like this show was so well written, so well cast. I absolutely loved it to no end, and I still watch it on a regular basis, and that is Happy Endings.
Okay.
Yes. Damon Wayans Jr. We talk about him on a regular basis when it comes to recast stuff from time to time.
Well, we love him. So.
And just that cast in general, so well done. The only real well-known face at the time was Alicia Cuthbert, and she was the main face. But then slowly, they just opened up that cast, and they were just all so good together. It was amazing. So good. So good. Okay. Loved it. Loved that show.
That's a good one. Well, so this is what? Theo?
Yeah. Teddy.
Well, here we go with Fox. Now, I'm not going to give Fox too hard of a time on this, though. Because, again, so the exercise of this was 5 seasons or less.
Yes.
This show went 4 seasons. And you know what? To be honest, it probably was the time to end it, because by the end, even I had sort of tuned out a little bit. But the first couple seasons, I really loved of this show, and it was Sleepy Hollow.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that show quite a bit.
I used to love Sleepy Hollow. I loved the guy. I can't remember his name, but I love the guy who played Ichabod Crane. And it was just the first season I thought was through the roof phenomenal. And it just sort of got, one tick down every season after that. It just got a little, but listen, that's to be expected, right? Sometimes you shoot your load in the first season, But this was a fun show, and I love the whole Legend of Sleepy Hollow thing. I love the Sleepy Hollow movie with Johnny Depp. I think I've always, this is my time of year, right? Fall. I'm all about the horror movies, so Sleepy Hollow was a natural one for me. And it was a really fun show while it lasted. It probably had run its course, but I'm not going to really rip Fox on that one. I'll rip Fox later in my honorable mentions, but not really on Sleepy Hollow. Right. It had a decent run, and it was a really fun show. Cool.
All right. I never watched that. I remember you talking about it quite a bit, though. So, and you're kind of a horror fan, so like that's a good pick. Good pick. All right, my number 2, which is the Thomas Jefferson of this group, is another one that I feel like the cast was so well done. They actually rotated cast in and out of this a lot. And I do feel like they did a good job whenever they had to add in a new person, whether it was for trying to get more ratings or whatever it was. They always did a good job. And even though I was kind of always skeptical when the new cast member came in, I was kind of like, what? Come on, don't ruin this. And then it didn't let me down. It never let me down. And it was just mainly the 2 guys that I loved, and they're just back and forth, the way that they would do things, and plus the courtroom antics were just so incredible. And I still, to this day, love this show. You know, you have Peter Bash and Jared Franklin. And these two guys were just so great together. Franklin and Bash. I love them. I actually named, so there's a scene in where they have Randy Johnson. And they show him throwing and all that kind of stuff. Yes. And like, you know, and he's like, oh, I could hit him. And, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And like, obviously there's no way he's going to be able to hit Randy Johnson. But I actually took a screen cap of that and posted, and it's my fantasy baseball logo. And my team name is Franklin, Bash, and Johnson.
Very good.
So I love that show. I think it was just very well written. It's one of those like frat kind of guys get together and just have fun. And it was never too sexist, but it did flirt with those lines quite a bit.
It did.
And
it did.
But it went back and forth. Like they definitely treated, you know, I mean, Peter was constantly shirtless, and you know, I was even drooling over it because he is a handsome man. And I absolutely love that show. I'm so sad to see it go, and it lasted, I think, 4 seasons. So it was very close. Made a good run. And I love that show. I wish they could come back with that. That would be another good one to see.
Yep. Okay. So
what do you got?
This is Jackson, right?
Oh yeah. No, yeah, this is Jackson. Now we got to do a G-dubs.
So here's where we get into Comedy Central. Man, oh man, do I miss Chappelle's show. Now, Chappelle's show didn't end because Comedy Central wanted to end
Fuck your couch.
It ended because Dave Chappelle, ran away and hid from the world for a while. And that was just, though, I mean, sketch comedy at its...
What did 5 fingers say to the face? Slap!
He's just one of the funniest men alive. He's one of the funniest human beings on the planet. And that show was only with us for 3 seasons. And again, it wasn't Comedy Central that got rid of it. Chappelle ended it. And I know he came back and he did like a special or 2, right? And it was like, I think they called it Chappelle's Show, but I mean, as far as seasons, 3 seasons. It was a 3 and done. And that was upsetting, man. I mean, just the skit alone of him as Prince is just... that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, they could have done a whole movie with him.
Crazy basketball player, man. He's got some skills.
Then
he made me waffles.
Timothy Meadows took a sketch from Saturday Night Live, The Ladies' Man, and made it into a movie that I think is hilarious. They could have easily done a Chappelle where he was Prince. Where he was Prince. Yeah. Like, they could have done a whole movie. It would have been hilarious.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, that's just one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah.
You know, and I loved it, man. I loved Chappelle's show so much. I loved Charlie Murphy being on the show. I mean, it was because Charlie Murphy is low key hilarious.
Yes.
So,
oh god, yeah.
It's, you know, it was great. It was great, and it was nowhere near its peak. It could have been. I mean, that show could have. It could still be going.
Yeah.
It could still be going. It would still be great. Because he's evolved as a comedian too, you know, and so it just, you know, it would have been awesome. But that's my Teddy. All
right. So my number one, my G-dub here, and this is a show that I absolutely loved. It actually went 5 seasons, 5 full seasons. They wrapped it up pretty nicely. I still like that. I like the way the whole thing played out. It was such a great show. The cast, the lead actor and actress together, they were awesome. And those two are Zachary Levi and Yvonne Strahovski, who I still to this day, Yvonne Strahovski, and as her role as Sarah Walker, was absolutely amazing. Female badass. And you know, just seeing Chuck Bartowski kind of slowly grow into this, you know, super spy, also very fun. And you could also have a little crossover here because Franklin Bash, obviously Peter Bash, went to the college years with Sarah Lancaster, Ellie Woodcock, because they were in the college years together.
Saved by the Bell, the college years?
Yeah, Saved by the Bell, college years. So that was great. Adam Baldwin was amazing in this. Just everything across. And of course, Captain Awesome, Ryan McPartlin. He is awesome. He is just amazing. Joshua Gomez as Morgan Grimes. Just the cast is just so fun. Such a fun spy movie. And I just loved it because every episode you're kind of like just loving the twists and turns and seeing how he grows and then see how Sarah would save the day somehow. So it was so much fun. Just all the side characters are amazing. Chuck is definitely by far my number one on this list.
Franklin and Bash.
Yes!
There was no effing way that Peter Bash, Jared Franklin, Damian Karp, Stanton Infeld, Pindar Singh. I mean, you are talking about a show that ended. I mean, again, it had a good run at 4 seasons, right? We can't say it didn't. Mm-hmm. It could have gone easily another 4. It could have gone easily another 4.
Yes,
it was just so well written.
So good.
It was so perfectly cast from top to bottom. I mean, even,
And those antics in the courtroom were just so amazing.
It's great. I mean, it was just, the whole thing was just so well done. It was chock full of beautiful people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I still occasionally will hit up Breckenmeyer on Twitter just to like make a Franklin and Bash reference. Yeah. He actually did like he liked one tweet once. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Franklin and Bash was the gift that kept on giving. It was one of those shows where I just would I couldn't wait to watch it.
Yeah. The next episode, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I just it would have been one of those ones where if it had been released on a streaming network and you could watch all the episodes, I would have just binged the shit.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It would have been done in 2 days. I would have knocked out a season in one night.
Yeah.
Kind of like I do with Ted Lasso, which, Ted Lasso, by the way, this Mount Rushmore, of course, is very fluid, right? I mean, this Mount Rushmore will change and update over time.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, Ted Lasso, I think, is only set for 3 seasons. I think that's how Sudeikis envisioned it. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you right now, if Ted Lasso ends after 3 seasons, it's going to be somewhere on this mountain. I don't know that it would overtake Franklin and Bash. I love Franklin and Bash. But it might move right into Lincoln. It depends on how good the 3rd season is. Because the 1st season of Ted Lasso is one of the best single television shows I've ever seen just in one given season. The 2nd season was good, not on the level, but still really good. Yeah, still really good. Let's see what happens with the 3rd season. The way it's setting up for the 3rd season, going to be amazing. So if it does really only go 3 seasons, it could very well end up on this list. Because I don't think there's any chance it goes 5. I think Sudeikis would have to be talked into 4.
Yeah.
So
I could talk about these shows all day long. I have an honorable mention list too, and I'll run through it real quick. I know people are going to be pissed off that I didn't pick Breaking Bad. But you know what? To be honest,
I never even watched Breaking Bad.
I watched the 1st season of Breaking Bad, and that's it. And then I just got into other shows. And
I would imagine that some people would be pissed that we didn't pick Firefly, which I also never watched.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Well, supposedly Firefly.
It's supposed to be amazing.
It was 1 season, I think. And supposedly it's maybe the greatest single season in television history of any show. And I'm like, I've never seen this show, but I've heard many, many great things.
Maybe we'll have to binge it sometime. And we'll
maybe. I mean, that's a quick one and done.
Yeah, seriously. So I had shows.
It's not a big time commitment.
Yeah. I had the show Life. That was a show that I absolutely loved.
Life was good.
That only had a couple seasons, I believe. I might have only had 1. But that was a show that I really, really enjoyed. It was, Damian Lewis, who's actually in Billions now. Sarah Shahi, who was also really good. The cast there was amazing, where he was basically a multimillionaire who got thrown into prison, but when he got out, that's how he became a multimillionaire, because he was framed for a murder and he was put in prison for so many years. Sued the police and got a bunch of money, got a settlement, and then went back to the work for the same cops as a detective. And he had this fantastical brain that just could figure all these stuff out. But that was great.
Which one? Wait, hold on. Which one was that?
That was Life.
Life, okay.
Yeah. Marvelous Miss Maisel. That is also another great,
I've heard a lot of good things.
great
about that.
show.
Yeah.
But
Is
I
that
don't.
like one season or two?
No, it has. I think it's on at 4.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm waiting for that to be. I was nervous because I was like, this is still going and still going pretty strong. But I think it might wrap up after this season. Maybe one more. There's only so much more they can go with this. So if that's the case, it might bump Queen's Gambit out for me just because it had more seasons, but not quite. It had its full run, kind of. Okay. Another one was Red Oaks. That was a hilarious show. It's about tennis pros and it's all about that kind of
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm like struggling to think of what it's like. Country club, yes. All that kind of stuff. Set in like the 80s and just awesome, absolutely amazing. Okay. The cast was great. Paul Reiser's in it. He's like an angry guy in this, and kind of pisses people off. And he does a great job. That's a great show. And also Heroes. Heroes was a show that was great.
It was.
Really fell off in the second season.
Yes.
And
unbelievable first season.
Yes, and one of the greatest first seasons of all time. So that's what I had for my kind of. I also had Gotham on there, but I was like, nah, I don't really want to put that on there. I didn't like it that much. So, did you have any other honorable mentions?
Yes.
On our way out.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Here comes the Fox run. The Finder.
Oh, that was a great show too. Yeah. Totally forgot about The Finder. That only had one?
Calling. Yes, one season, The Finder, yep. True Calling, one season, also Fox.
I don't know what that is.
That was Eliza Dushku was in it.
Oh, okay.
So she's on my top list of hotties.
The Finder
Point was good, Point Pleasant, this is probably one you will not remember. Melissa and I loved this. Because the girl, I think the main character's name was Christine. And she was blonde, really hot, checked boxes. But the storyline was that she was this girl who washed the shore, and she was like the devil's daughter. Like she had like 666 like in her eye, like in her eyeball.
Yeah.
But she was super hot. But she was weird. She was conflicted because she was like half good, half, I've got this demon in me.
Yeah.
That was a fun show. The CBS had a show called The Crazy Ones with Robin Williams, where he was like a head of like a marketing firm, and it just had some real funny moments, and it was one of Robin Williams' probably last things that he did before he passed away. And it was a really funny show. I liked it a lot. I want to say it was him and Sarah Michelle Gellar were like the two leads.
Really?
Yeah. And then just two more. NBC had a show that lasted for 2 seasons, which I loved because it was just cheesy romantic comedy. It was called Great News. Loved that show. I was so upset when it was gone.
There's a lot of good shows. There was a lot of good shows out there that just didn't make it.
I mentioned this to you a couple of weeks ago before we started this list. This would have been my George Washington, but it was never intended to be more than just a miniseries. It was meant to be a 1-season miniseries, and it was a CBS show. It was called Harper's Island, and it was a murder mystery show. And it was amazing.
Oh yeah.
It was like week by week, you just like people were getting knocked off, and it had like a pretty cool cast in it too. Like Harry Hamlin, like Perseus from Clash of the Titans, was like one of the main guys in it, and it was just a great murder mystery because and the whole theme of the show was like one by one, because everybody was getting picked off one by one, like 1 week at a time. Somebody new was getting picked off, and you were like, oh my god, who did it? But it was never meant to be more than just one season. But in that one season, oh my god, it was one of my favorite shows. I just Melissa and I could not get enough of watching that show.
That's cool.
Just top to bottom, it was awesome. So that's my list.
Excellent. All right.
Franklin and Bash.
Yeah, both high on our lists. All right. So thank you guys for watching, listening, how you took this in. Appreciate your time. You will find us again on Monday to discuss Week 6 recap and get into the Week 7 picks. Also, who knows? Maybe we'll talk a little Yankees. Maybe we'll talk. We never know.
Are we spinning the wheel?
Oh yeah, we can spin the wheel real quick. Let me do that real quick for you. Let me do that real quick. Let me put on the old. Oh, that's not the right camera. We're gonna do this camera right here. that. Oh, look at that. My football. Oh, it's in there again. It's in there again. What can I do? Where are we at? All right. Once, Forever, Never. Ryan Reynolds movies.
Oh, yes. I know you'd wanted to land on this for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Once, Forever, and Never.
Ryan Reynolds.
That's not easy.
He's got some good movies. Buried.
It's really hard.
Yeah, you have
Never,
Van Wilder.
The Never is very easy. The Once and Forever, it's going to be really difficult for me.
Yeah.
Because I love Van Wilder.
Oh, so good.
And I love
Deadpool.
And
Deadpool
I
2.
just, well, that's my biggest problem is Deadpool or Deadpool 2. Because yeah, it's good. The Never, I mean, listen, I think we'll probably both be in sync on the Never.
You want to say Green Lantern? I don't know.
That would probably be my Never. Yeah, I'm gonna struggle with Once and Forever. That's gonna be.
This is gonna be tough. He's got some great.
I think I know
movies.
the movies. I just don't know which one will be which. That's where it's gonna get tough.
Yeah.
But I think I might have it. I think I might already have it. This will be very little research for me, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one because there's so many good movies. So many good movies. So many fun movies.
I had a friend of mine drunk dial me the other night, and she was telling me like you have.
I haven't seen Free Guy yet. Have you seen Free Guy?
Yeah, that's what she was telling me. She's saying you have to watch Free Guy. She's like, it's great. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't
But
seen Free
drunk.
Guy yet.
She was drunk too, though.
I mean, Just Friends is amazing. I mean, that movie is.
Again, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I loved that movie.
It's good stuff.
It's really good.
Good stuff. There's so many good movies. So many that you could choose from. I mean, I am looking forward to this, but not looking forward to it at the same time.
Like him in that fat suit is just so phenomenal. It's really great.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. You find me on Twitter at EinhornIsFinkel. You can find us together at Shane and Bryman. And you can find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man. And we have reached the end of the show. And in the words of the great Tony Stark, part of the journey is the end, but we'll be back next Monday. So have a good week, everybody.
Peace out.
Stay classy, Planet Globe.
Bye.
Fuck you, Christopher Columbus.
Whoa. I agree.
Hot take right at the end. But is it?